In this video we're going to take you around the sights of Cirencester, capital of the Cotswolds. It'll take about an hour and 3/4 to 2 hours to do the actual walk, but obviously you can take longer depending on where you stop and what you do on your way around. But here's our guide to a beautiful Cotswold town with lots of Roman history. Hi there. We were passing the capital of the Cotswolds, that is Cirencester today, so we decided to stop off and have a wander around Cirencester.
Yeah.
So we're just at the entrance to the Bathurst estate and the park, which you can come into. So we parked just up near here because there's a car park and some free parking as well.
Yeah, next to the college is the free parking.
Yeah. So we're going to have a wander through the Bathurst estate and then go and see some of the Roman sites of Cirencester.
Yeah.
And the more modern sites, but...
Yes. The city, the town.
Yeah.
So, for those that don't know, the Cotswolds is an area down the south of the UK that is spans 5 counties.
Yeah.
Cotswolds actually stands for Cots, which means sheep pen, because the area had a lot of sheep and farming and wool trade.
Yeah.
And Wolds means hills because it's a hilly area. So
yeah.
Cotswolds, there you go.
And Cirencester was a big market town and had a lot of the wool trade based here.
Yeah.
But it was called
Corinium
back in Roman times, and then once they got rid of the Roman name, it was called Cirencester. As you come into the Bathurst estate, it is £4 per adult to come in and wander around, but you can come in and out as often as you want during the day. And you do get a little map which my assistant is holding up, which tells you all the things. There's a couple of monuments in here, and there's paths all the way around the park. You can bring your dog as long as it's well behaved.
Our dogs don't count.
We did used to bring our dog, and she was all right. So yeah, lovely place to come and walk your dog, and just a nice place to come and walk around. And you can walk from here into the city, town.
There's also areas of the park where you can watch some polo being played. There is a lovely big monument called the Queen Monument, and there's a cricket and a tennis club. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
There is cricket going on at the moment, but it's about to tip it down, so they won't be playing for long. Not quite sure why we've got a camel statue, but very nice. And then you can see the monument off in the distance, and then as you pan around, loads of bits to walk. Cricket going on over there, and tennis courts, and then as you keep coming round, lovely view of the big house and the cathedral behind it, which will no doubt end up in later on.
Never been in?
Never been in, the one in the country, in the world.
So, Cirencester Park was bought by Sir Benjamin Bathurst in 1695 for his eldest son, Alan Bathurst, and he became the first Earl Bathurst, and he basically transformed the area into places, long avenues with viewpoints at the end of nice places to walk through. So the first Earl also designed this hexagon, which is a collie, and was built in 1720. Imagine the Georgian ladies coming for their stroll with their parasols and...
We may need to make use of it, because as usual, the day we've chosen to come and look around somewhere is very wet, and there's thunderstorms forecast, so we might be hiding in there in a bit. Not out. As you get down to the bottom of this avenue and towards the town, there is this caravan where you can get coffee and cake. We've done that a few times before, but nowhere to sit in the dry today, so I think we'll use a coffee shop in town somewhere instead today. But yeah, nice place to stop for a coffee on a nice day. And they do free dog biscuits. Never heard of the Cotswold Rally, but these cars are obviously all here for it. couple of Porsche. The Jensen MG, used to have one of those. Not quite as swish as that one. That was the colour of mine. Okay, so this is the Cecily Gate, which Jan will tell you about, because I don't know.
It's the main entrance to the park, and they were built in 1856. And behind them were the barrack-like buildings, which were an armoury, used as an armoury, military army in the 1857, I think. Yeah. And but now it's just commercial buildings. But it does look like a really good imitation of a prison or a little castle, to be fair.
Okay, we're walking into Cirencester proper now, and what was quite surprising when we were looking at some of the history, it was founded in 70 AD, but at the time it was founded it was pretty much the same size as London, so things have changed a bit since then.
Just a little.
So I think Cirencester had 10 to 12,000 people and London had kind of 12 to 20, so not much in it, whereas now London's, I don't know, getting on for 10 million and Cirencester's probably about 40,000.
No.
I'm guessing. I'll look up the number, but yeah, quite a change over the years. I think I prefer Cirencester.
I do too.
Part of the reason the Cotswolds are considered so beautiful is because of the stone that's used, the Cotswold stone, which you've got this honey-coloured stone all over, which does look really nice, and even nicer on a sunny day, but we won't be able to show you that.
No, but it's also very, very expensive.
It is very expensive. Our house is made of it, we can assure you it's very expensive if you need to replace anything.
So Cirencester Abbey is built on the site of a Roman church, and it was founded in 1117, and there had been a Saxon church, but it had been the oldest Saxon church in England here before that, so it's been Roman, Saxon and then Augustine in 1117.
So this is the church built on the site of the Abbey, so generally churches in the UK are free to go in, but it does sound like there's a service going, so we might have to be a bit quiet. Okay, so we couldn't go into the church because there is a service going on.
Perhaps
which
a
is
wedding?
Maybe a wedding, yeah. Which is fair enough. They don't want us wandering into their wedding service. So, but you can go in normally, and it's meant to be quite an impressive church. So worth a look if you come when there's not a service on. So we'll have a little look around the Abbey Grounds. It's going down to the river, and we've got a choice: get the Norman Arch or the Roman Wall. I know which one she's going to choose. Roman Wall. There's a surprise. As you can see, there's not a massive amount left of the original Roman wall, and that house at the end is a bit of a shame. 70s brick, but never mind. Anyway, the actual wall itself, not much left, but it's quite nice. They show a little artist's impression there of what it would look like, so that gives you a much better idea. We haven't got our branded umbrella today. They didn't give us any sponsorship, so we've gone for a plain one. But it's just as miserable as when we were in Oxford now. Anyway, the reason Cirencester was such a strategic and important place is because it was on the convergence of three of the main Roman roads, so Ackerman Street, Ermine Street and the Fosse Way all converged here, which is why it was such a key strategic site and became such a big town in Roman terms anyway.
Yeah, and then but it was only really important until they pushed the border back. They took Wales and then the border went north, and then it became less important.
Yeah. But still important trading post, but less important.
Less important in terms of military.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Okay, right, I think it might be time to find a cafe.
Christopher?
You come to the market, which is on a Monday and a Friday. And then every second Saturday is a farmer's market and an art market, which is what's on today. So we'll have a little wander through. I'll see all the war memorial.
I think that's it. I can see that.
Next, this is the High Street. Jan's Head right in the middle of it. Okay, this is Blackjack Street, which has got lots of little coffee shops, restaurants, pubs. Okay, if you want a bit more detail on the history and the Roman times, you've got the Cirencester Museum, which is just at the end of Blackjack Street, which has got a really good exhibits and
really good. They do walking tours as well, so they do various walking tours around the town that are all on their website. That is a really nice museum. About an hour to go around, I think.
yeah, and it's about £8, was it?
£8.40, I think.
£8.40 to get in, so not bad. Okay, finally persuaded Jan to stop for a coffee and a cake at Mead Bakery on Blackjack Street. Nice little seats overlooking a courtyard with lots of arty little shops that I'll never go in or buy anything in, but Jan seems to like.
You can get the dog ice cream.
You can get dog ice cream.
We could get Jasper some ice cream.
Yeah, it'll be melted by the time we get there.
Oh.
So we'll go along Castle Street, or Castle as Jan would say it, being a northerner. Castle Street as the Queen's English.
There's no R in it. It's no castle. It doesn't say castle.
Anyway,
see,
we'll have that.
Castle. C-A-S-T-L-E. There's no R. Castle.
Yeah, there's lots of words that are said differently to how they look. Anyway, we'll have this argument ongoing. But anyway, there's all the usual shops as you go along here, and then you come down this way. Hopefully, we're going to find the Roman amphitheater.
And there are lots of very good second-hand shops, apparently. There are 11 second-hand shops in Cirencester, which apparently have very good, high-quality stuff. So I'm reliably told by my friend.
Okay, well, there you go.
There you go.
We haven't been in any.
We haven't been in any.
Okay, so it is a little bit of a walk from town centre, about a 10-15 minute walk to get to the amphitheatre, and you feel like you're coming out of town a bit, but just follow the directions on Google or the maps and you do get there. Okay, so the entrance isn't particularly obvious, but there's a little scout hut and an entrance here via the obelisk. And there's the obelisk.
Okay, so the obelisk is an 18th century obelisk, and apparently they were built as a link to the Freemasons.
Oh, okay.
So those people with the funny handshakes who have secret meetings that nobody's allowed to talk about, they liked the obelisks, and it's because Alexander Pope, who was a friend of the first Earl of Bathurst, they think he influenced the Earl to build the obelisk.
Okay.
Made of limestone. That's it.
There you go. Here it is. So you've got just as you're getting to the amphitheatre, there's this quite handy little map showing you all the links. So all the way down to Dorchester.
That's Fossway.
Yeah, Fossway.
Ackman Street.
Yeah. Where's the other big one? Ackman Street. Where's Ackman?
Street. There, that's the one.
Right, Ackman.
Ackman?
I think it's Ackman.
I don't know.
I'll put that up.
But Ermine Street, which is obviously the way to London, and St Albans, and then obviously you go Watling Street, all the way back up here towards Chester.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Quite good. Okay, right, let's go see the amphitheatre, which is down here. Okay, so here we go. There's just the big grass banks left, but you can clearly see the shape and what it would have looked like. And this was one of the largest amphitheatres in Britain, and it could hold up to 8,000, which, given the population of Cirencester was 10,000, is pretty good going. And a quick scan round, you can see the Abbey in the distance.
So the amphitheatre was used for public spectacles and entertainment, which included gladiatorial combat, animal hunts like bear baiting, and animal hunts, and also public executions. But I'm quite amazed that they could get 8,000 people in here. But whether it's been lower,
It may have been higher. It looked like it might have been higher. But you can see on the far side there, you can see the tiers where they would have had the wooden seats.
And
so
then,
it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, and after the Romans left, after the Romans were under pressure in the 5th century, they came back and fortified it against the raiders and invaders of those dreadful Saxons who wanted their own place back.
How dare they?
And then in the Middle Ages it was used as a marketplace and as an enclosed rabbit warren, of all things, by the Archbishop of Cirencester.
Okay, from the amphitheater you can walk through the woods just next to it, which hopefully is going to bring us out of 4 acre field, which is listed everywhere as another little site to visit. We're not quite sure what's there apart from a field, but hopefully we'll find out in a minute. Okay, so the 4 acre field is just a field with a playground, a football pitch, but it's a shortcut back to where we parked, so that's handy. That was our whistle-stop tour of Cirencester, which was about 4 miles of walking, so pretty easy pace and easy going given the places you stop and have a look at, but a lovely little town to wander around and gateway to the rest of the Cotswolds.